welcome guys to another video here on the Man United Daily YouTube channel. And in this match review video, I'm going to be talking about United's second win of the season at Aston Villa. Obviously, it was a bit of a different schedule for us all. I'm guessing that it was a kickoff at Friday night. And, overall, it wasn't a great performance again, similar to Spurs, where, we didn't really offer too much in attack, but defensively we were really, really sound. And obviously, getting a result is the most important thing at this stage of the season, where, your fitness, again, it's not going to be 100%. And so you're basically just grinding out wins. Obviously, the performance, I believe, will come. Towards the end of last season, we began to saw how well United could play in this new system, or a 4-3-3. So I think that will come, but defensively we look really, really good. Obviously, the main sort of threat that Aston Villa posed was with Rudy Gestede, who didn't come on until the an hour mark. So obviously he's not in full fitness. So that was probably their biggest threat in going into the game. But I thought Smalling and Blin did really, really well. Blin, on one occasion actually managed to outjump Gestede, and overall he wasn't troubled at all. He was given a man of the match by Sky Sports. But Smalling as well in the air, he's absolutely phenomenal, and he beat Gestede to basically every single ball. So that really nullified that threat. And by having possession, then obviously that put a stop to any sort of threat that Aston Villa could have posed by getting a free kick or corners. So overall, defensively, that probably was the most pleasing thing about that game, that as a unit, we look very, very good. We have greater protection now for the back four in the shape of Schneiderlin and Carrick, and then, Schweinsteiger coming on. So obviously that helps by not having, a recognised centre-back, I guess, in Blind, who, I think still get preferred there because of his ball-playing ability, and by having someone who is much more defensively minded and, dominant in the air, Smalling, I think, that obviously complement each other, because Smalling's probably not as comfortable as Splint, so that they play off each other. So that's been working pretty well. I want to stress though, even though I'm praising their partnership, it shouldn't cast sort of shadow over our pursuit of any centre back, because I do think that we still need another one in there. Whether that is Otamendi or someone else, I think that we still need to get another one in, because Blin is not going to be troubled free all season, and when he does, we might have to bring in another one. So that's still an ongoing situation. So that that could definitely be improved. But overall, I thought defensively we were very, very good. In possession though, I thought we were careless in patches of the game. We won the game in the spell, between the 25 to the 40-minute mark in the first half, where we began to show a bit of rhythm in our passing, and so that led to the goal. Januzaj came back in as a number 10. That was probably the surprising selection last night, given Ashley Young doing reasonably well in the game against Tottenham. So Januzaj took his chance. Great ball from Mata, who drifted inside, fainted and then slotted in with his right foot. So Januzaj did really, really well in that regard, and took his chance, and we all know that it's a 1-0 score, so we held on defensively very, very good. Mata, I thought, did alright again on the ball, but defensively he was caught off a couple of times. But I think that's probably the trade-off that you have to take when you want to include Mata in his side. But he does have some defensive lapses, and I think that's expected with any sort of attacking player in a modern game. But that's probably why we have to put in and playing a double pivot at the moment, so that Schneiderlin and Carrick / Schweinsteiger can provide the cover for the bombarding fullbacks that we have. And that leads to the next point. I think that the fullbacks looks to be very, very good. Darmian has settled in very, very well. Defensively he's absolutely superb, and he's not going to be likely to be beaten as well in at a back post, because he's over 6 foot as well. So I think we've got a very good one. I mean, it shouldn't come as a surprise so much, because he is Italy's #1 right back, and played very well for Torino last season. But I think it's because we all recognise that he must have been good, but we didn't really like how good, because we probably haven't been watching Italian football as much as some people out there. And then Luke Shaw, obviously we all knew about his injury troubles last season, but again, I think every United supporter saw the potential in him when we signed him, and now it's coming into fruition. Obviously he's still 20, and his game's going to get better and better all the time. So fullback position, I think we've got that locked down for the next good couple of years. And with Shaw, obviously he can stay for as long as he wants, 10 plus years at the club, so that should be fine as well. And on the left hand side with Shaw, we saw for the first time Memphis playing there. I thought he tried a bit too hard at times in order to make a game changing sort of like move. He obviously missed a good chance in the second half where Mata played him through. Very, very unlucky with that, because the trajectory of the ball seemed to be heading into the back of the net, but when the bounce came in, it just shifted wide. So on another day he probably would have got his first Premier League goal there. So I think it was encouraging for him. A lot of people been slating him, saying that he hasn't done much, but if you saw the runs that he made from out to in, when the players start to spot that more often, I think, and get the delivery right, I think he's going to be a massive goal threat for us. Obviously, I said this on my on the Twitter page, where similar to RVP, if you like, when he first signed in 2012, where it wasn't until Scholes and Carrick really began to read RVP's movement that we really began to exploit his qualities. So I think it's a similar thing to Depay, and the one player who I thought tried and really began to saw his movement was Bastian Schweinsteiger when he came on, where he played little reverse balls over the top for Depay to run into, and I thought that was a sign of things to come. And talking about Schweinsteiger, I think once he reaches full fitness, I think it's going to be hard for Carrick especially to keep him out of the side. I mean, I'm a big fan of Michael Carrick, I'm sure we all are, and recognise his qualities, but in this double pivot role, I think it's important that you have two midfielders who are quite energetic, who are able to run forward and make a contribution offensively as well. But and it doesn't play too well into Michael Carrick's abilities and sort of like style, where he likes to sit deep and dictate from the back. So he does look a bit awkward at times when he tries to go in attack. That not to say that he can't do it, but I'm just saying I think Schweinsteiger might be a better fit in the longer run. That's why Louis van Gaal obviously signed Schweinsteiger, and he's not going to be sitting on the bench the whole season. So I think that could be the one sort of like selection dilemma where Louis van Gaal might have to be vigilant to strike a right balance there, who partners Schneiderlin in the midfield in the upcoming games. I mean, also Rooney, I just want to point that out, where he didn't have a great game. His touch was off most of the time, but again, I think it's to do with what Louis van Gaal wants of a striker, where he wants them to occupy the centre backs, not having too many touches on the ball. Obviously, Rooney could have done with having better touches on the ball, but he didn't help himself in that regard. But I think, again, the match rhythm that Louis van Gaal wants to stress, I think in a couple of weeks we can really judge for ourselves how the whole team is progressing. But overall, I thought defensively we were very, very sound. However, I think even though Mata played reasonably well, I think he does sort of like slow down attacks where we have, if we had pace, like with the likes of perhaps Pedro, we do sign him, then obviously that makes it a lot more interesting and enable us to be more menacing in attack and carry out that threat with the pace in running behind. So it could be a tasty sort of like front line if we get the Pedro deal over the line. That is still ongoing. I think he'll probably play for Barcelona in this return leg of the Super Cup, where they lost 4-0 last night, so it probably won't hurt him to play another game there, I guess. Hopefully, fingers crossed, he's not injured, and then by the beginning of next week, towards the end perhaps, we'll probably have him done and dusted. But still to be updated on anything really, and I'll obviously keep you guys updated if there's any significant movement in that regard. But again, back to the game. It's a win, not a great performance, but defensively looks like we have tightened things up. I thought Schweinsteiger did really well as well when he came on. He really killed the game and controlled it for us and guided us through. So yeah, like I said, 6 points out of 6, much better start than last season. Thanks again for watching this video. Remember, you can follow me on Twitter at ManUnitedDaily, or check out my website at ManUnitedDaily.com. And again, if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Comment below on any of the topics that's mentioned or anything you like. And again, subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.